All right. Are you ready to rock, Leslie? Yeah? All right. I will leave you to it. Ask me anything. Microsoft EDU tools. Take it away.
Oh, you don't have a chair.
No, I need a chair.
I'll stand.
Does he want a chair?
Yeah.
Selfish.
No, I am so going to make this work to my benefit for dinner tonight. So guys, do you remember during the presentation I had to stand during the whole thing? Don't you guys feel I deserve a little bit of a better meal from these guys tonight?
Oh, yeah.
How are you? Welcome to Bett. Are you guys doing okay so far? Enjoying the conference? Let me first start by introducing myself. It's an absolute pleasure to be here at Bett. My name is Leslie Fisher, and I keynote and I feature speak K-12 education technology conferences all across the United States. And I had a rare opening in my schedule that allowed me to be here. And what's so cool is a lot of these guys are some dear friends. We could count the wine bottles. We won't talk about that. So we're here for something called Ask Me Anything, because I always think it's interesting to give you guys a chance to talk to some of the product managers from some of Microsoft's products. So that's what we're going to do. So hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
So I want everyone to quickly know about you. So we're in an elevator together. The elevator is going to stop at the 5th floor. And I want to find out what each of you do. I have just hit the button. Who are you?
Ding.
Ding.
Hi, I'm Ian Mikutel. I'm a product manager on the Microsoft Whiteboard team, which is probably a Microsoft education app you have never heard of because it's the newest one. So I'll probably talk more about that as we go. But
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Mike Tholfsen. I work on the Microsoft education team on OneNote education stuff, as well as inclusive classroom, and so helping kids with all abilities, as we say.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marjolein Hoekstra. I'm from the Netherlands, and I run an account on Twitter called OneNote Central, OneNote C, that I use to talk to educators about OneNote and promote their stories about OneNote.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Justin Chando. I'm a product manager on the Microsoft Education team, work on Microsoft Teams for Education. All the class, staff, and PLC experiences inside there.
Thank you, dear.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Parker Goldberg. I work on the Flipgrid engagement team. Flipgrid, for those of you who don't know, is a video discussion platform who just recently joined the Microsoft family this past June. We're completely free. We love student voice, and we're excited to chat with you all today. So thank you.
So color me curious, because Flipgrid is pretty dominant in the United States. Who here has not heard of Flipgrid? I'm just curious. Raise your hands. Flipgrid is a wonderful platform that if you have a chance to check out, they're right over here. And then let's also find out if you're curious about something. Is anyone curious why he's wearing shorts?
I'm curious.
Raise your hand.
Why is that? I don't know.
I could never figure that
He's
out.
crazy.
I hope there's a good answer.
I live by a couple mottos, but one of my favorite is dress for the weather you want, not the weather you have. I absolutely love the sun, and so if you wear shorts enough, it comes around. I live in Minneapolis, we have 4 seasons, and it just always works out that eventually summer comes around, and I'm always ready for that moment.
So you're ready like 25% of the time.
I'm correct, or I'm ready 100% of the time.
All right. So before we open up to some questions, and that we want to do, we want to take your questions. One of the things that I always am intrigued by is as product managers, if they have a specific thing that they wish you, the audience, knew about. So now we're in the elevator. We're on the 5th floor. I just hit lobby. If there is one takeaway that you wish more people knew about your product, what would it be? Ding.
So I said Microsoft Whiteboard is a new Office app, and we made it specifically for education. There's a bunch of good stuff in there, like OneNote and Teams integration that we're demoing. The big takeaway would be if you want to do group real-time collab, specifically with pen and touch on a big display. Maybe you're projecting, maybe you have one of those big interactive displays. That's what Whiteboard's all about.
And did you say collaboration?
Collaboration, yeah, real-time collab. It's good for a lot of stuff.
Works on
Windows 10, works on iOS. We have a web app. So no matter the device type, you can use it. And yeah, that would be the big...
And where are you located here in case they want to just run to you?
Yeah, it's right behind this booth, actually. You just do a straight shot. You'll see a big 75-inch television.
Don't take the TV.
Don't take the TV. Don't take the pens either. That's a common thing at these conferences, and it's really a bummer when I have to start doing all of our demos with a finger. So yeah, that would be the takeaway for Whiteboard.
Awesome.
So mine would be, I'm curious, raise your hand if you know what the Immersive Reader is. Immersive Reader? Not too many. So that is something that is built in across Office. It's designed inclusively to help with reading and literacy. So dyslexia, it could help with emerging readers, it could help with students who have ADHD or non-native speakers. This Immersive Reader is built into Word Online, it's in OneNote, it's in Flipgrid, it's in Teams, it's in the Edge browser. So
we're going to figure out how to get it in Whiteboard.
Yeah, we're going to get it in Whiteboard. We're going to put it everywhere. So if you don't know what the Immersive Reader is, in all those apps, it's free and built in and mainstream. I would say that. And the bonus for the global crowd is last week we also released real-time translation in up to 60 languages in the Immersive Reader. So now you can use these special reading tools and translate in up to 60 languages.
And where would it be in the stand that they can check out Immersive Reader? Where's its location?
There's a whole set of inclusive tools directly behind us, so you can go talk to the folks of Inclusive Classroom. And then there's some teaching tools over here that also have the Immersive Reader. And I'm on this stage every day at 11:30 a.m. talking about it a whole lot.
And how can you miss the cape?
And it's worthwhile. So what I would like every OneNote user to know about is that you can live embed so many different types of objects that will play back live inside your OneNote pages, which could be animated GIFs, YouTube videos. You can live embed Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, Microsoft Sway stories, and so many other objects that will come to life right inside your OneNote pages. If you've never explored this, then I highly recommend that you try this out. It's as simple as just copying the web address of that one type of content that you want to live embed. For example, a Flipgrid video will live embed inside a OneNote page. And the big advantage of this is that your students will not need to go out to a browser to access that content that you want to share with them, but they can access it right from within the OneNote page. And this works in OneNote for Windows 10 app. This works on OneNote for Mac. This works on the iOS version and in OneNote Online. So this is really a terrific way for teachers to offer very rich content.
And I just wanted to mention, as someone who, I was at Apple for 10 years, and as someone that still is a little bit in that ecosystem, it's awesome how much your stuff works on all different platforms, which I think is something that a lot of people don't realize, that almost any device could come into this ecosystem and be part of this ecosystem, which is great.
Yep.
All right. So the one thing I'd really like everyone to know about Microsoft Education and with Teams for Education is just how much time we spend in classrooms and how much time we listen to educators around the world and how that influences our products. I think a lot of people are surprised to know that we have educators on our product team that actually really give us tons of insights every day, and how much time I'm able to just fly on an airplane and go visit a classroom at any time, and how it influences all of our new features. So we announced 5 big features yesterday. We're announcing 5 big new features again today. That's 10 total, and they all came directly from teacher feedback. So these are things that, I think people are surprised to learn, and from the past year with Teams, what we've done, I mean, we've gone very deep on the class experiences with things like really rich feedback through rubric grading with criteria and standards built right into it, with syncing grades to student information systems or MISs with our grade sync feature. All these things have come directly from teachers, and we're just here just to do that and to amplify you and across Microsoft.
Wonderful. The one thing that I hope everyone takes away from Flipgrid is that we are so much more than just a product. Leslie and I were talking about, it's weird to say Flipgrid the product because Flipgrid as a thing is so much more than just the tool that we get to work on the Flipgrid team. And so what I mean by that is there's an enormous community of educators on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, via email, along with our team ourselves who are here to support you as you start using Flipgrid, as you start exploring other tools. An incredible educator community with the hashtag FlipgridFever, specifically on Twitter, or anytime via email. Send any of the team members at Flipgrid an email, and we'll be happy to connect you and help you and support you in your student voice adventures.
Thank you. Does anyone remember having a pen pal? Anyone do a pen pal program in your school? And that's something that if we think about, kind of gone by the wayside as technology has increased, we've lost pen pals. There is a wonderful feature in Flipgrid called Grid Pals. And it is a map of the world that shows you any teacher that has created a grid that would love to become a grid pal with another classroom in another part of the world. So if you're missing that pen pal experience, I'll tell you once again, head to the Flipgrid booth and say, show me Grid Pals, because it reminds me a lot of what pen pals used to be. Thank you, everyone. All right, guys, now it's your turn. If you have a question for one of these fine people, I don't know, throw your hand in the air, give me money. I guess you went with the throw your hand in the air, which works.
Hi. I'm interested to hear a bit more about how one can start using the grade sync, and is there a kind of a Gradebook feature added to Teams? What's the new assignment experience in Teams?
Did everyone hear the question? Wonderful. What is the grading and the new assignment feature in Teams?
Thanks so much for the question. I'm super excited you're interested in grade sync. So we announced grade sync yesterday as a new way to sync all the grades that you're doing in assignments in Teams and go into the system that you store those in. And a lot of times it's like Capita Sims here in the UK. We have some other big ones like Power School, Infinite Campus that are all supported today. And what the setup is, it works with Microsoft School Data Sync, which automatically pulls all the information and creates all these teams, sets up the classroom, sets up the users, the students, and puts it all in the right place. So first day of school, students come in and they have all their classes ready to go. And that's a big time saver. So once you have that set up, you can then turn on grade sync. And because we know who they are in that other system through that first process, you hit one button and then it pushes all the grades when you return your grades in Teams over into systems like Capita Sims. A follow-up question.
Does it sync with LMSs?
Can
you export to Blackboard or Moodle?
Yeah, not today. More focused on the MISs as well. But we also announced the Moodle integration into Teams, so you should check that out as well.
So, do you mind if I put you on the spot?
I don't mind at all, Leslie.
All right. So I was when I heard your backstory, I was pretty compelled by it. So if you don't mind really quickly saying how you ended up here, why you ended up here, what was the thing that while you were sitting in a classroom that made you decide to come out with some rubric items and what it led to. But I'm going to hit the elevator button because I think it's a fascinating story. So go for it.
Yeah, so previously to Microsoft, I joined Microsoft a year ago. In fact, this Bett last year was my first time being at Microsoft. I joined with a company I founded called ChalkUp. It's a class collaboration platform, which actually has a lot of the ethos that we're building inside of Teams. Really easy way to send messages and assignments. And what's that happened? I founded the company in my dorm room, and it grew really rapidly, and then ended up bringing a lot of that magic into Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen, for example, the rubric feature in Teams, it is fascinating. It's awesome. And to know that it came from a student that was watching his professor and thinking there's got to be a better way to help this guy grade, and from that came this to Teams is, I think, absolutely fascinating.
And my mom was a teacher for 20 years, so I've seen the other side as well. So.
Thank you, hon. All right, who's next? Not everyone at once.
So we had a few questions come in over social. What is the news around inclusion and immersive reader and VR and mixed reality? What's the news to come?
Yeah, so I mentioned the immersive reader, which is all about focusing around literacy and helping students of all abilities. Just yesterday, we announced we now have this immersive reader inside of virtual reality. So, and you can actually try it out right over there. The idea around it was, so before you envision all students in class 8 hours a day with virtual reality reading, that is not the idea. The idea is many students need, it might be 20 minutes of pull-out reading, really focused time. And it might be students that are struggling maybe with ADHD or attention deficit disorder. We would think students with autism, it might be interesting. Maybe students with dyslexia who want to really focus, or students with visual impairments. But we've taken the immersive reader and put it into virtual reality. So you can set your settings in Word or OneNote and then send it into VR. But now it's hard to explain until you see it. I encourage you to try it out. Imagine a giant movie theater with the Immersive Reader and text and read aloud and breaking the words into syllables and different focus mechanisms. And the text-to-speech is right over your ears with the headsets. And so we've just launched a beta, and we're going to be working with researchers and figuring out what works and what doesn't and trying out the Immersive Reader inside of virtual reality. And there's been a lot of interest, especially from special education and assistive technology. And as an example, Leslie, here's a story. I don't know if I told you this. We also took it down to a senior citizen center, or a center with much, much older individuals, just to try it out. And we had people who hadn't read in over a year because of their eyesight. Oh. And they were putting this on and saying, they actually ran upstairs and like, this is the first time I've read in over a year. And so it has broad, again, that inclusive design we think can go way beyond just students maybe with dyslexia or ADHD. It can go across a spectrum of people.
And one of the reasons I'm like on this stage right now is when Mike contacted me, I'm a struggling reader. I'm a little dyslexic, and I've struggled with it. I fibbed my way all through school. When the teacher would say, is everyone done reading? My hand would go up as well. And once I had learned about Immersive Reader, I was hooked. I still today, I'll use Office Lens to take a picture of something, have it read to me in Immersive Reader. If you haven't seen it, I beg of you to look at it, because it is changing lives, changing classrooms. And it was one of the things that just really made me warm and fuzzy towards what Microsoft is doing. So thank you, and if you haven't seen it, go over there.
Yeah, it's right over there. You can try it out.
All right, another question. Anyone? Anyone have another question? Someone's got to have another question.
I'll take the opportunity then. So can I get a quick show of hands? How many people have heard about the Microsoft Whiteboard app? OK, that's about what I would expect. So I talked about kind of what it does before, but I just want to throw out one other thing, which is a lot of people hear a whiteboard app. Doesn't even have to be from Microsoft, could be from another company. And they typically think, OK, I must have some specific big device. And if my school doesn't have this XYZ device, then I can't use this thing. And so one of the superpowers that Microsoft's approach is all about is kind of like we said earlier, it's about being on all the platforms, you know, whether that's iOS or whether that's the web. But one of the superpowers for us with Whiteboard is because we kind of made it a Windows 10 app, you can use it on any Windows 10 machine that you may have. And what a lot of people don't know is that the large screen device you may already have in your classroom, and maybe sitting in a corner, maybe a little underused, a little dusty, crusty, you can a lot of times plug in your Windows 10 machine into that device or project to it wirelessly, and you can have a really good experience and kind of breathe life into some existing device that you have, or start a conversation with your school about, hey, maybe it's time to refresh these things. I see some interesting use cases. So I just wanted to throw that out there because there's a lot of misconception out there about that market of large screen devices. So,
questions?
I just saw a demo of it, and I think it's got a lot of possibilities for active learning and group work.
Yeah.
So if students, say, even clustered around a laptop, they could create a screen on which they could brainstorm and so on and save that and all be able to access
100%.
it.
Yeah.
And so that could be a really nice way of having, and then be able to share that with the rest of the class.
Yeah, and in fact, to take that point a bit further, one of the demos, a couple of the demos we're showing, like I mentioned earlier, is export to OneNote class notebook. So if you're using that in your classroom already and you go do a live collab session in Whiteboard, you can put it right in your class notebook for safekeeping. And the other one is Teams. So if you run your classroom through Teams, you can pretty soon be able to post right to your channel in Teams and say, hey, you know, I'm doing this collaborative project, or hey, here's what you missed, or whatever. So totally, you're spot on.
Lindsay, any questions? Or if not, I'm going to pester Adam. Hi. Another thing that as I got to know all the different companies that I think was fascinating was how Flipgrid got its start. Do you mind telling how Flipgrid got its start?
I would love to. So Flipgrid grew very naturally from just kind of an opportunity that Dr. Charlie Miller, our co-founder, had at the university. Dr. Chazzy Miller, right over here, had at the University of Minnesota. So he was doing this really cool project with National Geographic, where he had the opportunity to travel to all 7 continents and study education with students and families and communities and talk about, you know, what they're learning, how they learn, and how that compares to their peers. And while he was doing this really cool thing, he still had his design, master's, and PhD students back at the University of Minnesota, where he needed to continue conversations. And just kind of that text-based threaded discussion online just wasn't really getting that engaging discussion going. So he had this kind of idea of, let me post the prompt, and I'll have my students upload videos so that I can kind of check in and talk to them face-to-face, but without the barriers of time zones or scheduling with all the travel and everything. And so the opportunity that he then discovered from that was students weren't only uploading videos so that he could see them, but they were watching each other's videos and saying, oh, I really liked what Liz was saying, or I really like what Nate was saying, and I wonder if she's thinking this now, or on and on and on. And since they were master's and PhD students, they said, can we take this technology that you've built? It wasn't called Flipgrid at the time. It was just Charlie's video tool. And they said, can we take this and can we use this with our students? And so Charlie and his friend Brad spent basically 48 hours straight coding what became the very first version of Flipgrid. And then it just kind of grew organically and naturally from that, because as all of you know, as innovative educators, when you find something you love and you're passionate about and you see working with your students, you want to share it. And so we've been very fortunate to work with this incredible community of educators who continue spreading Flipgrid and the innovative ideas they're using around Flipgrid. And we kind of grew from there, and now we're here at Bett with Microsoft. So it's been a journey.
And I love the fact you're called Flipgrid, because that was the shortest domain name you guys could find that made sense. Yeah, so I love that. So are we out of time, I think, or no?
No, we got time.
No? Time for one more
Benzie got some questions for us online?
Yeah, so I think we've seen a lot of questions around Whiteboard when it came out in preview. What was the, I guess, maybe the most surprising bit of feedback that you guys pulled into what was, I guess, now generally available this week?
Yeah, so the announcement this week for Whiteboard was we're announcing general availability. We call it at Microsoft GA. It means it's exiting preview, and you don't have to go flip a switch in settings to get all the education features. So just download the app, and all the goodness is there once you log in. We ran a preview community since basically Thanksgiving, end of November, and we had about 500 teachers in this group giving us feedback about the product. And one of the most interesting stories, there was a lot of them, but there was a music teacher who used the app. And not a scenario or anything that we expected. And what they did was they actually had all the, I'm a former band geek, so this one spoke to me. First chair trumpet. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah. Oh, all right. We can make a band.
Saxophone.
We hear
right,
some
and banjo.
I love it.
Who sings?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
All right.
I've heard your Kanye.
So this band teacher, he gets his whole classroom on the Whiteboard app, and they spent the period creating a collaborative piece of music, literally writing on the whiteboard and actually making a piece of music, and then playing it at the end of the period. And so we took that feedback back to our team. We said, oh, like the teacher's actually asking us, can we have basically music paper backgrounds for the Whiteboard app? So that's something that we're looking at now. But it just always amazes me. I'm sure everyone up here feels the same way when you go and meet with educators, like Justin said, and Mike has done for years, and Flipgrid does with its whole community. And you talk to on Twitter every single day. Justin and I were just talking about the fact that you could go on Twitter every single day, and even as a fellow educator, search some of the terms that we do internally, and you learn so much from what other people are doing. Frankly, a lot of times, I hate to say it, but it's better than what we are even necessarily telling folks, because you guys are sometimes more creative. And so we take in what you give us, and then we use it to refine our products or engage with you and build new stuff. So that was one of my favorites from the Whiteboard preview.
That's one of the many fantastic things about an educator, is if they find an engaging tool for a student, they're going to figure out how to teach with it.
Yeah.
And that's why all of a sudden I always tell people they'll take your software and push it to boundaries you had no idea existed.
Yeah.
And then in the process make it better for them and you, which is great. Any other questions? Oh, one more? Okay.
Okay, just my last one.
All right.
So for everyone online, can you share your hashtag and how teachers can get a hold of you?
Sure. Hashtag Microsoft Whiteboard. It's not the shortest hashtag, but you know. And then I'm just at Ian Mikutel, IANMIKUTEL. So I'm pretty active on there. I love to engage with folks, so tweet me. And yeah, I'd love to talk more.
I'd probably say that one I use most is the hashtag OneNote, and then also Microsoft EDU.
Yep.
And then in terms of my Twitter handle, it's a hard one to say because there's a lot of letters, consonants in there. But it's the letter M, and then my last name, which is THOLF as in Frank, S as in Sam, EN. So that's how to reach me on Twitter. And I talk to her a lot on Twitter, too.
Yes.
She taught me Twitter back in the day, actually.
So the way to reach me is through my Twitter handle, OneNoteC, which stands for OneNote Central. Originally, it actually stood for OneNote Community, but I decided Central was the better word. So it's OneNoteC. And if you're interested in the Microsoft EDU chats that we organize monthly, then you can also reach me at TweetMeet. TweetMeet. It's as easy as that. So I look forward to receiving your messages. My DMs are open, so by all means, reach out to me. Thank you.
So a couple of hashtags with Microsoft Teams. You know, we haven't really nailed one yet. One of our educators came up with hashtag Teammania, which I really like. But hashtag Microsoft Teams is a good one. Charlie came up with one that was hashtag Chando Zone that I really just love. But anyway, at Justin Chando, JUSTIN, on Twitter. So love to connect and always engaging. You can see all the Teams updates there as well.
Cheers. The Flipgrid hashtag, once again, is Flipgrid Fever, FLIPGRID, FEVER. I haven't had to spell that in a while. Flipgrid Fever, and then my handle on Twitter is Adam Short Shorts, as in he who wears short shorts. Adam Short Shorts. I'd love to connect.
How does that translate into other languages, Adam? Have you checked that
Yeah.
out?
I will now.
Well, I do think we're out of time. Did everyone pick up, I'm hoping, a good tip or trick or whatnot? I hope you did. You now know all these different locations that these product managers are part of. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, and I hope the rest of your bed is insanely enjoyable. Thank you, guys.